time. So I'd like to welcome you all to the first meeting of this year of the World Trade Council. Sponsored by Spirit tonight. Should be a very interesting meeting, I think. And I look forward to the rest of the year. I think we have some really interesting subjects lined up, which I think you'll enjoy. Before I turn it over to Spirit, I wanted to introduce someone. I wanted to introduce the new Frank Barton Distinguished Chair in International Business, Professor of Management, Yusa Haley. She is, I know you can't replace Dharma, but she's going to serve in some of the roles that Dharma did, and she will be very involved in the World Trade Council. So I have her bio here. I'm not going to read the entire thing because and this is the scaled down version. She has an 88-page bio that's used in academia, but to just give you a flavor of her experiences and her background that she brings here to Wichita, she's going to be a huge asset to the university, to the community here, because she's done a lot of things with business and to the World Trade Council. So I wouldn't do this. I'm not just doing this to make her look like she's superwoman or anything, but it'll give you an idea of her background and some of the experiences she brings to this job here. So if you'll let me do this, I'm going to give them some background on you, okay? Okay. She was, previously, before coming here, she was a full professor of management at West Virginia University. And she's also been the professor of international business at Massey University, Auckland, New Zealand, a professor of international business, University of New Haven. Other full-time faculty positions in international and strategic management include the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, New Jersey Institute of Technology, Rutgers, Australian National University, the National University of Singapore, and ITESM, Monterrey, Mexico. She has taught graduate courses at Harvard, Purdue, and executive development programs in the USA, Australia, Russia, Hungary, Mexico, Vietnam, Italy, Finland, India, and Singapore. Her research focuses mainly on multinational corporations and international strategic management. She has over 275 publications and presentations. She has testified a number of times before Congress, before the U.S. Senate, before the Committee on Ways and Means. She's presented research studies before the U.S. International Trade Commission, the U.S. Department of Commerce, U.S. Trade Representatives. She has numerous competitive research grants, including those from the National Science Foundation, the Academy of Management, the National Research Center for Coal and Energy. She serves or has served on 8 corporate, non-corporate, and governmental planning advisory boards. She sits on 6 academic journal editorial boards. She has served 23 times as a keynote speaker, and I won't go into all those. Her expertise has been profiled about 550 times in the international media, including multiple times in the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Financial Times, USA Today, Guardian, CNN, The Economist, The Washington Post, National Business Review, The Australian, PBS, and NPR. Among research awards she has received is the Academy of Management's Practice Impact Award for Scholarly Impact. She was featured as a thought leader on emerging markets at The Economist's flagship High Growth Market Summit in London. She received the Emerald Publishers Lifetime Achievement Award from a panel of academics, business persons, and policymakers for contributions to understanding the Asia-Pacific business. She was named as an American-made hero for her work on behalf of business of U.S. manufacturing. She received the Glorious India Award from a consortium of Indian industries and business associations for her contributions to the United States. Her teaching awards include the University Lecturer of the Year in 2011. Her PhD is from the Stern School of Business, New York University, with a master's degree from New York University and the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, and a bachelor's degree from Elphinstone College, Bombay, India. And you might want to ask her what she does in her spare time. I don't know. But as you can see, she brings a wealth of experience and knowledge to this job here in Wichita, and I think we're extremely fortunate to have her a part of this organization. So I look forward to her insights over in the future here, and I encourage you, she's also a very engaging person, so feel free to meet her and get to know her. So I think she'll be great. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Spirit, and Dave's going to take over here and introduce the speaker and et cetera.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the first program. As you just heard, we have a very, very knowledgeable individual that's just joined our council. And the next year is going to be very exciting. I think there's some challenges that she'll provide us, some thought-provoking conversations have already occurred, and I'm very excited to have her on the team. So I trust that each of you have had a happy and healthy summer, especially you students. Welcome back. My name is David Nelson. I'm the Senior Manager of Global Supply Chain Management, responsible for global procurement operations at Spirit Aerosystems. Tonight, I'd like to leave you with some expectations before we start the main program. I hope that each of you leave tonight with a better understanding of who Spirit Aerosystems is, what Spirit Aerosystems does, and how Spirit is leading the industry in aerospace structures. In tonight's program, you'll hear about a golden age of aviation. Many of you in this room experience that every day. You'll hear about a booming middle class with growth in a part of the world many of you have maybe never visited, but you can because of the products that Spirit Aerosystems employees work on and deliver around the globe every day. You'll hear a little bit about Spirit's strategy, a little bit about our execution plans, and I hope that all of you find this evening informative and enjoyable. Tonight's program will be presented by Michelle Lohmeyer. Michelle Lohmeyer she joined Spirit Aerosystems in June 2015 as Senior Vice President and General Manager of Airbus Programs. In her current role, Michelle has responsibility for all global sites at Spirit Aerosystems, including Kinston, North Carolina, Prestwick, Scotland, Sabang, Malaysia, and Saint-Nazaire, France. This includes their program operations. Prior to joining Spirit, Michelle spent extensive time with Raytheon Company, most recently as Vice President of Land and Warfare Systems product lines. In this role, she had responsibility for the development of all Army and U.S. Marine Corps missile systems. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podium Ms. Michelle Lohmeyer.
Thank you, David. I would have much rather had your 80-page resume there, a good doctor here, but no, I'm happy to be here tonight with all of you and representing my boss, Mr. Tom Gentili, who could not be here with you. So his loss is my gain. So I'm happy to chat with you a little bit today about Spirit. So a lot of you I know a lot about Boeing with its legacy and history of having been here in Wichita, but you may not have known that it started back in 1927. So at that time it was Stearman Aircraft Company, and then very quickly thereafter it got bought by what became Boeing. And through the evolution in many years, it expanded, and you can see here with BAE Systems started in 1977, and then we acquired that back in 2006 and 2005. So soon after we divested and became Spirit, when Boeing sold us, we decided to diversify. Our portfolio is still very heavy Boeing, and that is our DNA and that is our roots, but we wanted to balance that a little bit. So in purchasing BAE Systems, which is the site that we now have in Prestwick, Scotland, that gave us some wing platform programs on Boeing's A320, A321. Very soon after that, we opened up a site in Sabang, Malaysia, which then became kind of our center operations for what I would say is more affordable sub-assembly manufacturing that we do there today. It started off as just solely Airbus and doing wing components. We now do many Boeing programs. We do some of the 787 fleet. We do some of the 737 doors, so we continue to expand that facility. Then in the 2009-2010 timeframe, we bid on a program for Airbus on their twin aisle, their A350 platform, which competes with the 787, and won their center fuselage, what they call Section 15, and part of their wing program, fixed leading edge. So then we got a site that we set up from the ground up in Kinston, North Carolina, going through some hurricane issues there right now. And then also final assembly in France. So we make 6 panels there, big, huge panels that we then put on the ocean and assemble them in France into a barrel and send over across the street to Airbus. So a little bit about us. We are the leading Tier 1 aerostructures supplier in the world. So we do more aerostructures than any other supplier on the planet. We're very proud of that. The planes you see down on the bottom there, and there's blue, I don't know if you can tell that. So that's every commercial airplane that Boeing has and every commercial airplane that Airbus has. We have some content, some work package on every single platform. And we work hard to maintain that and keep that so. It's a pretty balanced portfolio. About half of it's fuselage, and then the other half is split between wings and propulsion. We're also growing our defense portfolio. So we do the CH-53K, we do the KC-46 tanker, the P-8, and then we are very proud to be on the B-21 bomber, where we are a supplier to Northrop Grumman. So, you know, it's a great time to be in the aviation industry. So as you can see, it's got a terrific growth there out to 2036 and a very healthy CAGR. And you can see what the rates are. You know, where they are today on the 737, the A320, you know, they're in the 50s, going to the high 50s, into the 60s, and going higher. They're going higher. So, and then on the twin aisle, the 787 and the A350, you can see those in, you know, going from 12 to 14 and 9 to 10 and going higher. So it's a good business to be in. It's a healthy business to be in. And the reason it's growing, a lot of the reason it's growing, and this is a chart that Airbus showed us just last week when I was over there in Toulouse at a supplier council. So you see back in '96 where the People's Republic of China sat in terms